Am I the asshole? For disciplining another person's child and ruining my sister's birthday? My husband M35 and I F34 were recently at my sister's F40 birthday party, which was quite big. A lot of family and friends were there, many of whom we had not met before. As the evening drew on, many people with young children left, but by the time the party was wrapping up at midnight, there were still a few teenagers around. My sister has two teenagers herself, F16 and M17, and they had all stuck together most of the night, so I hadn't interacted with many of them at all. That being said, while I was lending my sister a hand and helping to clean up, I overheard a conversation between my niece and another boy M18. He was trying to encourage her to take some of the leftover alcohol before the adults noticed, and my niece was repeatedly telling him that she did not want to. At this point, I will not lie, I was absolutely eavesdropping because it seemed to be getting worse and worse by the second. I think they thought they were being quiet and not drawing attention, but didn't anticipate me standing where I could hear them. I decided to step in when the boy told my niece that she could cop a feel if she took some of the alcohol, and he would show her a good time later. My niece said ew, gross, and I walked over and asked the boy how dare he speak to someone like that. He looked like a deer in headlights when he realized I had overheard the whole thing and kept stuttering, but I told him that he still had a lot more growing up to do if he thought any of what he said was okay. I told him that he should be ashamed of himself for showing so much disrespect to my niece. I said that she had already told him that she didn't want to take the drinks, and to try and pressure her and bargain with SX was a horrible thing to do. I hadn't noticed, but the boy's dad M37 had come over while I was talking and said that I had no right to discipline his child, and that his son had done nothing wrong aside from being a teenager. He said that I had emasculated his son in front of a peer, and I was shaming him for having urges which are totally normal for his age group. He did start to raise his voice at me when he was asking who I thought I was, which is then what attracted the attention of my husband and the rest of the party. My husband told him to back off and not speak to me that way, which is when my sister basically threw us all out and called me an embarrassment. She has subsequently texted me saying that I am not welcome again until I apologize to the boy and his father, and her whole birthday was ruined because I had to stick my nose where it didn't belong. She said the boy's dad was actually a co-worker of hers, and I have made her work life hell when it wasn't my place to say anything from the beginning. I am now starting to feel quite bad. Was I the not the asshole at all? I understand your sister is upset because of the co-worker relationship, but that boy needed to be embarrassed. It's evident why he behaved the way he did. Apple falling, tree close. He certainly wasn't going to be disciplined at home. In fact, you are so not the that I'm issuing a public thank you to you for your service to the community and to your niece. That child is 18, at that point it's not disciplining a child, it's calling out a bad behavior, adults' bad behavior. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Ask your sister how she'd feel about having a pregnant teenage daughter. For the dad, sorry you failed to raise your son properly, not to pressure girls into sex and stealing, was trying to keep my niece safe. This boy repeatedly harassed your niece to steal and drink alcohol when underage and to have sex with him despite her repeatedly telling him no. You weren't shaming a boy for his urges, as his poor excuse for a father insisted you were confronting a boy who apparently isn't familiar with the concept that no means no. About underage drinking. About sex with him. About anything. As for your sister, what is she thinking? And what kind of message is she sending her daughter? That the boy's behavior was okay and facing him down was inappropriate? Wow. Not the asshole. Definitely not the asshole. So your sister is okay with the pressure to steal alcohol. The pressure for sexual acts. She's more worried about the co-worker who is doing a bad job of raising his son than all the other stuff. Not the asshole. Considering your sister threw you out, and wants you to apologize to this guy's father, her co-worker whose son tried to coerce her younger daughter into sex and drinking, I'd ask her, exactly how long has she been having an affair with this guy? The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men women to do nothing. Edmund Burke. The let him be, boys are boys attitude are why so many people get away with what they do to women. Not the asshole, your sister is absolutely disgusting. Oh heck no, that young man was way out of line. The dad and your sister are so wrong. You did the absolute right thing. Good for you for standing up for your niece and good for your husband standing up for both of you. Your sister should be ashamed for not supporting her daughter who was trying to do the right thing and being taunted, propositioned, and harassed. You are not the asshole. Please be sure to let your niece know she was doing the right thing and that she always has a safe place with you and your husband. Not the asshole. This kind of boys will be boys type of treatment is what raises future rapists and sex offender. BC they think their urges are more important than someone else's feelings. And that they can get away with such crimes. So sad that your sister isn't willing to protect her daughter. It just teaches her child that if something were to happen and they didn't defend themselves, then it is their fault. And that their own mother won't support then BC they need to stand up for themselves. Ugh. This is interesting. I was gonna call this a fake rage bait story, until you added the extra details. And I know women who are like that and will coddle boys but have firm rules for ladies. I also know women who often side with men who they are romantically involved with over their own child. And I know women who try to raise strong independent daughters who can take care of themselves. So, not the asshole for standing up for what's right over teaching some existential lesson. Not the asshole. Thank you for stepping in and protecting your niece and future females. How can we expect you woman to stand up to this behavior if we don't show them how? Mother of a teenage girl, I would be pissed if my family ignored that sort of behavior. Your sister is more concerned about saving face. If this is how she treats you when his father started shouting at you, just imaging what she would have said to your niece if she stood up for herself. She would be blaming her for ruining the night. Not the asshole. So your sis is okay with that boy sexually harassing her daughter? Someone at a party sexually harassed her daughter and she's concerned about her social life at work? Wow. Mother of the year over here everyone's. Not the asshole. Editor word. Not the asshole. You correctly defended your niece from a gross situation wherein she was being pressured with both sex and alcohol. Would your sister rather you leave the boy to encourage her daughter into underage drinking? Even if nothing happened, I bet the niece was somewhat happy that someone had her back in that situation. I know I would be. I'd message her and tell her exactly what that boy was trying to get her daughter to do under her nose. So an 18-year-old boy was trying to talk a 16-year-old girl into drinking alcohol, presumably in a country with a legal drinking age of 21, and then having sex with her. The 16-year-old girl was clearly uncomfortable saying no, but the 18-year-old boy kept pushing. WTF is wrong with your sister? Not only are you not the asshole, she is. Very much so. Not the asshole at all. It's pretty clear where the kid gets his future sexual assaulter-esque attitude from. Absolutely disgusting that your sister reacted the say she did. The difference between a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old can be massive. He's almost 18. How long until his birthday? What he was doing was 100 sexual harassment and actual crimes. Your sister is insane and your niece is very lucky to have someone like you in her life. Not the asshole. Hell would freeze over before I apologized. Once upon a time I was a teenage boy. I did many stupid things, and also had lusty urges. But you know what I never did? This. This is not normal behavior and needs to be called out, just like your did. Your sister is having a hard time? Her daughter was sexually harassed at her birthday party. She should be pissed, just not at you. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole? For not making an effort to increase my child support payments after coming into some money. I got divorced 5 years ago and I lost a lot. My ex got the apartment and out car. I was okay with it because she had our children and I wanted everything to be as stable as possible for them. I ended up moving in with my grandmother to make ends meet. My ex and I were doing a decent job of being co-parents, I think. I spent a lot of time with my kids and I have never missed a child support payment. My grandmother became ill during COVID and I was basically her caregiver. She made it through but it knocked her on her ass. She passed away about 2 months ago. I am an only child but my parents are both irresponsible, which is why they couldn't help me out when I needed somewhere to live. My grandmother made me her main beneficiary when she passed away. All that she said was to take care of my kids. I sold her house after I gave everyone their bequests. I took the money and the rest of the estate and I bought myself a house and a car. Her house was old and not in a great neighborhood for kids. I also put money into my children's education fund. When my ex found out what I did, she got upset. She said that I owed her more child support now. I checked with my lawyer before I did anything. Money from an inheritance, the sale of a house, or a lottery win does not count as income. If I had invested the money instead, then the interest would count as income. She thinks I intentionally screwed her over. I think I now have a good reliable car for work and a nice, small house in a good neighborhood for when I have the kids with me. We are fighting about it but I don't think I'm in the wrong. You're not the asshole. It sounds like you spent several years living tight, sharing an apartment with your grandmother, taking care of her, etc. You certainly weren't living high on the hog then, and you aren't now. You bought a small home and reliable car, both things that will benefit your kids. You put money in their education funds. It sounds like you're being really responsible with the money and she's just mad that she doesn't benefit from it. It's not like you came into a huge fortune and bought a beach condo and private plane. Even if you had, you still wouldn't owe your ex squat, for our purposes here. I hope your lawyer is correct. Not the asshole. Sorry, not sorry, but your ex is just mad that she isn't getting money, not your kids. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. You talked to the lawyer, everything is on the up and up. So she's gonna have to suck it up and stop being jealous. You have a right to have a nice home and a car, especially for your kids. Nata. Your wage didn't increase. Your inherited assets, she can't touch. Tell her you sought legal advice before doing anything, so if she wants to go to court, she's more than welcome to. Not the asshole. She's just being greedy. Not the asshole. You checked with your attorney, everything was above board and will benefit your kids. She doesn't get a chunk just because you came into money and she needs to get over that idea. So long as the kids are properly provided for with your current CS payments, it sounds like what you've done will benefit them in multiple ways. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Sounds like your ex wanted a bit of alimony than extra child support. Are your kids getting sufficient child support now? Sound like they are. You invested in their future and provided them with a safe place for them to visit you with the inheritance. I'm not sure why your ex has a problem with that. Surely, she wants them to be safe with you. Nata. Go back and file for 50-50 custody. With no child support. Not the asshole. It sounds like you made smart decisions that in the long run will benefit your kids. You didn't blow it on silly short-term things that have no real benefit. Edit spelling. Not the asshole. Your grandmother explicitly left you money for the kids. Not the asshole. The inheritance doesn't count as income. Don't give her a penny. Not the asshole. You got legal advice. And, your choices set up good foundational things for your kids. She feels entitled to something which she's not and is having her tantrum about it. It sounds like you did think of your kids in your planning for the money. Info: do your kids have enough of what they need in general? Not the asshole. And I also didn't know that about child support. Not the asshole. She's just upset because that money is not going straight to her pockets. She's overlooking your children's interests in their college funds and that they're reaping the rewards such as better vehicle and housing. She wanted that money for her fun stuff such as getting her nails did. Not the asshole. It's not her money no matter what she thinks. Not the asshole. You consulted a lawyer. You saved money for your kids. You did a few good things with kids in mind. Not the asshole. You are no longer married. She is not entitled to your inheritance. Inheritance is protected even if you were married. Does your ex work? Maybe if she has money stress she is fishing for opportunity. Not the asshole. The things you are doing will help the kids. As long as they are living comfortably, you are fine. It ask her if she intends to give you a portion of any inheritance she comes into. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You don't owe her jack shit. You did what you were required to by law. You don't owe her anything. If she wants to try to get you to cough up some of that inheritance money, she can try and take you to court, and she'll likely lose. For some vindictive reason, she wants to see you suffer and wallow in poverty. Good on you for checking with an attorney beforehand. If she keeps pushing it, lawyer up. Nota, she not looking at how this benefits your kids. You know have a better and safer home for them when with you. She should be happy they are no longer going to the old neighborhood that wasn't very nice. She more focused on the money than what this means for the kids. People leave money via will to the loved ones they want to have it. If she wanted your ex to have money, she would have written her into the will. It's a will, not a windfall. Not the asshole. Having kids with someone does not mean she gets to stick her hand out every time you get a few extra dollars. Lamo tell her to take it to court, because you know inheritance doesn't count as income. Not the asshole. The best part is you gave the kid money in their college funds. She's just mad you're not giving money to her. She's the Nata, you bought a home which your kids benefit from and set aside money for their education. Great job. The ex can kick rocks. Your grandma passed away, not hers, so she's not entitled to anything. Not the asshole. But stop telling people your business. You're divorced. She doesn't need to know the details of your financial life. You have the right to remain silent. Exercise that right. Nata. I was going to YTA this as obviously child support is for your children to make sure they get what they need, but the fact you said you put money into an education fund, then I am going with not the asshole. Not the asshole. You didn't go and spend that money frivolously. You bought a house for the kids and a reliable car that again will be used for the kids. You getting some money doesn't make her entitled to it, and again you used this money thinking of your kids. Inheritances are separate property. She thinks I intentionally screwed her over. Definitely. That diabolical plan of yours to divorce your wife 5 years before your grandmother died just so you could be like in your face to your wife worked perfectly. And yes, this is sarcasm for those of you who are tone deaf. You set aside cash for their continued education and got a stable place to live. Why are you even arguing about this? If she feels that the kids aren't being properly taken care of, tell her that you have a good home in a safe neighborhood, and you'll gladly take primary custody of them. Of course, she'll have to pay child support. Not the asshole. Nata. Nata. Not the asshole. Your ex is a little money grabber. I'm embarrassed on her behalf. And good for you for taking care of your grandma. Not the asshole. You didn't do anything wrong. Sounds like she wants more child support that she can use for herself instead of for the kids. The way that you used the money benefits the kids' nice house, car to pick them up, etc. too. It just doesn't benefit her. You are very solid. She is being a greedy prick. Ignore her. You're fine. Your ex-wife is being rather greedy here. It happens when someone dies. Some people expect to get more than they are given.
Am I the asshole? For yelling at my husband for asking the temperature of the soup. My husband and I just got back from a trip where I contracted a nasty bacterial infection in my chest and my sinuses. I don't think I've ever felt that sick before. I'm still sick but no longer feel like I'm dying. Yesterday in the morning I made my famous get better soon soup that I only make when someone in the family or friends circle is sick. Chopping and slicing and general cooking stuff wiped me the F out. But it was so worth it. Husband was at work and I wanted soup. No big deal. We often bring his mom food since she lives nearby and we like to help spend time with her. When my husband came home to me laying on the couch much like a dead fish lays on the beach, he declared the soup smelled amazing and then asked me to put some in to-go containers for him and his mom to eat. I just looked at him and very slowly and very quietly said, I'm still really sick. And I'm the one who had to make the soup. It really took a lot out of me. Can you please do it yourself? I did not succeed in keeping the annoyance out of my voice. He said yes, also a little annoyed. As he approached the stove he asked, do you think it's hot enough for us to eat right away? Or will I have to heat it up when I get there? And then I lost it. I yelled. I couldn't help myself. I was so annoyed and shocked at his first question. I really couldn't handle how incredibly incompetent this new question was. I said, give me a break. Please Lord, you have to be kidding me. You are a grown man. With hands. And a brain. You cannot be asking me about the temperature of something you're standing over. Tell me you're fucking with me. He was standing there shocked and a little hurt. I felt bad. But not that bad. All he had to do was ladle the soup into the to-go containers. He'd be able to feel the heat through the container. Or he could have tried it. Or he could have done literally anything other than ask me that question. Stick your wing wong in there for all I care. He really didn't say much. Just packed up the soups. And left. Everything is fine. He seems to have chalked it up to she's sick and in a bad mood, which he's not wrong and has forgotten about it. I did not apologize. Nor has he asked or seemed like he needed one. Everything's all good, but I told my mom this story and she said I was a jerk and should apologize. So, am I the asshole? Listen, I would be pissed for him sharing soup with anyone else I made while sick, not the asshole. Not the asshole. I'm actually more shocked that he took the soup for him and his mother when you're the one sick and had to make it yourself. They're both healthy and feeling fine. Why couldn't they make their own dinner and leave the feel better soon soup leftovers for the person who's actually sick? Selfish and inconsiderate sobs if you ask me. I'm assuming this may not be the first time he's added to the mental load, so not the asshole. Side note, I've made it a habit when I feel like I'm stressed or sick or just don't want to make any more choices. And I've lived with guys my whole life. By literally saying I don't want to make any more choices, so it's up to you. This usually helps them from asking anything else. Lol. Also hope you're feeling better. Can I have the recipe for the soup? Not the asshole. There is no apology needed. He knows he deserved how you reacted. Not the asshole. I hate this. I have literally had people WHO or holding a smartphone ask me the time before when I am not holding my phone. It's infuriating. Him chalking it up to you being sick and in a bad mood is also him being an asshole. You may have overreacted, but it was a stupid question. That's the root issue here. Not your illness. Not the asshole. And I hope he didn't take so much soup that you would need to make more to have enough to take you through to recovery. I mean, you shouldn't really yell at him. But asking you to put the soup into to-go containers is so ridiculous that I'm guessing there's a whole pattern of weaponized incompetence and acting like you're his mommy, so I'm gonna go with not the asshole. Unless I'm wrong about that. Not the asshole. Do not apologize for calling him out on his weaponized incompetence. It matters not that you didn't feel well. He's an adult human being with a presumably functional brain. Do you have to adjust the shower water for him? No? Then he can figure this out for himself. I don't understand how you women put up with so many incompetent fucking men. Good God. My ex-husband asks every year what day of the week Thanksgiving falls on. If he did so while I was ill, or stole my soup to feed his mother. OMG. He took soup that you made while sick to his mother. Soup you made to help with your illness. I don't like this dude. At all. I don't care what you said to him. He declared the soup smelled amazing and then asked me to put some in to-go containers for him and his mom to eat. Did he take care of you at all? Don't apologize to him. I hope this is a story that's out of character for him. Otherwise, why bother? Not the asshole. He was behaving like an idiot one. For asking you to package the soup for him while you are sick and laying down, and 2. For asking the dumbest question ever about temp. You could have been nicer, but honestly I'd have been hella annoyed too. Not the asshole. I laughed. What are you doing with my husband? I hope you feel better soon. NTA. I don't see a reason for you to apologize. I wouldn't make a deal out of it though. Give him a big wet kiss and maybe he will be more understanding when he contracts a nasty bacterial infection in his chest and sinuses. Not really. Or maybe really. It's a fleeting though. I call it well soup. Not the asshole. The bar is in hell. Tell him to go to mommy's house and stay there forever. At least then the next time you're sick some freeloaders won't steal your soup. Not the asshole. Why is he taking soup that you made for yourself? Because you're sick. For him and his mother. If he couldn't make the soup himself, then he shouldn't be asking for any of it. Not the asshole. You made me blow my drink out my nose when I read stick your wing-wong in there for all I care. He is a grown-up, he can figure it out on his own. Not the asshole. Does he need help tying his shoes too? This incident sounds like the straw that broke the camel's back. It was a dumbass question, but I don't really feel like it warranted such a vitriolic response. If you're mad about something else besides this or how sick you feel and you use this incident to get out your frustrations, that's also not a good way to handle it. This sub has a really bad habit of excusing shitty behavior from women just because there is a man who's receiving it in the stories. Not the asshole. I would have probably gone YTA for the strong reaction if it was just the temp question. But asking you to put the soup in containers when you're sick and put all that work into making it made me so mad. So I get it. They need to learn from these instances. It's so unattractive when they are so useless. I mean, not the asshole, but what are you gonna do when his mommy gets sick from the soup made by a sick person? Not the asshole. I feel annoyed by him just hearing you relay this. He should be caring about you first and foremost. But his second question was completely benign and didn't warrant that sort of response. Not the asshole. You tell a good story, wing-wong snort. Not the asshole. You made soup while sick and the first thing he thinks about is his mother's portion and whether it's going to be hot enough for his liking? What happened to caring about you and your well-being? How can you possibly be the here? Has your mother always told you to put other people's feelings before yours? Info: if he yelled the exact same things to you at any point, would you want an apology? Not the asshole. Because for one, you are sick and he asked a sick person to fix TP-Go containers for too healthy way to get people sick. But also you need to rest. And 2. What idiot can't check the temperature of the food in front of them? My older brother acts like this, but the rest of us have started responding sarcastically because my gosh, is it annoying. I hope you get better soon.
Am I the asshole for asking why my wife wanted something for her birthday? It was my wife's birthday recently and she asked me to buy her a counterfeit designer bag. I asked her why because I really didn't get it. We conversed a little, and though she showed signs that she was feeling a little uncomfortable that I was asking her this, I kept the conversation going because I wanted to explain why I was asking her this question instead of saying, "Sure, I'm not super well off, but I make good money and am financially stable. So spending a few hundred or even a few grand for a designer handbag or a counterfeit for much less was NBD. But I really wanted to rather get her something that has much more intrinsic value, so I wanted to explain my rationale. She ended up getting quite offended that I asked her that question and kept the conversation going. She then told me that this was the worst birthday of her life. She's usually not the type to care that much about showing status. She hasn't even bought new clothing aside from a few t-shirts since maybe a year or two ago. She's also usually the very meticulous type to always evaluate what she wants to spend her money on. She does her research thoroughly and decides if she wants something or not, and buys a cheaper alternative if she thinks there is a lot of overhead on certain popular consumer goods. I just wanted to understand why she suddenly felt the need to show status but not spend the $2K or however much it is for a Gucci or Dior bag, and hence the ask for a counterfeit. But we now both feel super hurt on her birthday. Am I the asshole? Edit. A lot of thoughts usually race in my head. I think the whole counterfeit part triggered most of it, and led to just a lot of questions in my head. But in retrospect, I have totally fucked up as a partner to just get her what she wants for her birthday. After all, I did truly want to get something she wanted, and she finally answered. The numerous questions that came up in my head don't really matter for shit. Having questions are fine. But I need to frame them better casually, maybe at a later time. I should probably tame my ADHD better as well. I need to find out a way to apologize and make it up to her. What do you want for your birthday? Ew, gross, why? Never mind, forget it. But why to? Tell me why you're gross. X200B. You're the asshole. You're the asshole. It's your wife's birthday, she shouldn't feel attacked because she asked for a bag. If she wants the bag, get her bag, who cares why she wants it? It only matters that she wants it. You really are making this a miserable experience for her, and in future if there is one, she might feel weird and not be able to tell you what she actually wants because she's afraid of being interrogated. I used to ask for practical things for birthdays and Christmas, but my husband said to me one year I should pick something I want, not something I need, because we can get the practical anytime. You're the asshole. You didn't just ask out of curiosity. You required her to justify the gift. So what if you want her to have something with more intrinsic value? It's her birthday, and what she wants is what matters. Good luck getting her to open up to you about anything else. She showed you that she does sometimes desire material things, for whatever reason, and you made her feel uncomfortable about it. It might be difficult to understand, but maybe, just maybe, she just wanted the bag. Not for status, not to show off, but just because she wanted it. You're the asshole. You're the asshole. It's not about the handbag. She showed signs of being uncomfortable and you kept pushing her. I personally don't buy genuine designer because 1. It's usually poorly made and overpriced, and 2. When I inevitably scuff, stain, or otherwise damage the item, I don't feel bad. You're the asshole. People are allowed to want things without having a good reason. You asked what she wanted, then required her to justify that want. I'm guessing it will be some time before your wife asks you for anything but the most basic things. Perhaps that's what you want. And that's a sad thing if true. You hurt your wife's feelings, and likely made her feel like an idiot for asking. You owe her an apology. Info. How many times did she tell you to drop the conversation? How many questions did you ask? Asking once and getting an evasive answer would land you an NTA, but you kept at it after she was clear she didn't want to talk about it would change that answer. Also, was she offended or just annoyed? Offended would make me think something weird is going on, but annoyed would make sense after being badgered. Also, as the recipient, she gets to decide what the better gift is. I can see how that would piss her off. You're the asshole, you don't scrutinize other people's birthday wishes like that. She must have felt like she was at a court and had to bring evidence to support her case. Next time, just buy the present if you can afford it and zip it up. Nobody likes the Spanish Inquisition. You're the asshole. Gifts should be about what the receiver wants, not what you the giver perceives a gift should be. I think, as you said, she might have carefully researched what she wanted and found it at the price point that would do the job for her. Did you consider perhaps, it wasn't the name on the bag but the actual style of the bag? She just wanted a purse for her birthday and your Inquisition made it feel like you were doubting her ability to choose something for her birthday. You're the asshole. You're the asshole. You made her uncomfortable with being judge and jury over what she wanted for her birthday. Why do you feel hurt? She did nothing wrong. You're making her birthday about your feelings over a bag. You don't need to understand or question why. You can justify it all you like, but you ruined her birthday when you could have just let it go. Good luck in her being open with you in the future about gifts. She'll save herself the Inquisition and she won't want to risk another day being ruined. Because she wants IT. Why does she have to explain why? That's so weird and a really annoying question to have to answer. I'd bet OP does this regularly. Has a need to understand, like he is so intellectual that he must command explanations regarding all aspects of life. Wife probably thought asking for a knockoff would be easier, but was sadly disappointed. You're the asshole. You're the asshole, and why do people think it is okay to act like this? Stop blaming ADHD, you're just an asshole. Info: why were you super hurt? You know that childlike spark, that light in their eyes, that all women should have around their men? You snuffed it out. You're the asshole. Lamau, imagine it's your birthday and all you want is goddamn bag and you get asked 5 million times why you want a bag. You're the asshole, a big one. So, when someone asks you for a gift on their birthday, you don't make them have to explain and defend their wants. That's what a school teacher or boss does, not your partner. So yeah, kind of a fuck up on your side. Do something spontaneous and nice, and apologize. You're the asshole. You're the asshole. You asked, she told you, you passed judgment and now you are trying to school her. She is your wife, not your child. It's fair that you ask, but it's unfair for you to judge and then try to teach her a life lesson. You even posted that she puts a lot of thought into her purchases and doesn't shop for clothing often. If this is the case, why didn't you just trust her instead of creating an awkward situation? You, sir, need to apologize and make this right. Nice, let's just blame the ADHD. Even if you don't mean to hide behind it, so many of your comments is justifying your behavior because you have ADHD. You're the asshole for the way you treated your partner when she asked for a bag. You said she never buys clothes for herself. She never chooses to spoil herself on this kind of thing, and this could be for a variety of reasons, but occasionally everybody likes to feel nice when they dress up, wear or carry nice accessories and feel a little special. Her birthday may be her chance to feel a little more dolled up, and it's sad that you, without meaning it, have made her feel like that is pointless. You're the asshole. I sound like your wife. I'm easygoing and don't really spend money on me. So when I say I want X, my husband would never question it. Yes. I'm not even reading, it's your wife. You only live once, who cares why? She didn't even ask for the real thing. I would have told mine sure and bought her an original no matter how much I had to work to pay it off. But that's me. Maybe she cares more about having something nice than you might think, but she knows if she asks you then she'll get a full-on interrogation that makes her feel stupid and small. You're the asshole. Am I the asshole? My wife discovered that I keep calendar reminders to ask her about stuff going on in her life. Pretty much what the title says. My wife has always been really good about staying aware of things happening in my life that I care about and periodically checking in with me to see how they're going. You know, basic loving, caring partner stuff. I have found that showing her that same consideration does not always come naturally to me. I would say I am a fairly self-centered person. I wish that weren't the case, but in retrospect a lot of bad behavior on my part was not corrected and even enabled when I was young. By the time I realized this character flaw, I was already well into adulthood, and I have found that old habits die hard. I don't think I'm that bad. Of course, sometimes I do remember that she was having that big meeting at work today, or that her aunt was having a surgery or whatever, and I ask about it over dinner. But more often than I am proud to admit, I get lost in my stuff and forget about hers. So a couple years ago I started setting reminders in my calendar so I wouldn't forget. Needless to say, I did not tell her I was doing this. Until now it's worked really well. Often I don't even need the reminder, just creating it helps the event stick in my active memory. But the other night she saw one of my reminders. She has a potentially painful dental procedure later this week, FYI. We both happened to be looking at something on my phone when it popped up. Needless to say, she was surprised. I had no choice but to explain the whole situation. I wouldn't say she thinks I'm a full-blown asshole. But she definitely found it weird and off-putting that I would need a system like that when she doesn't and nobody else does. I kind of agree with her. It never felt like a deep dark secret, but on the other hand there's obviously a reason I never told her or anyone else I was doing it. Still, taking action to make sure I show consideration and concern for stuff that matters to her has to be better than continuing to forget, right? Am I an asshole? X200B. Nah. I think it's really sweet that you took the steps to help your wife feel valued. I'd sit your wife down and let her know that this has helped you engage with her more and to learn more about how she's feeling. It's not like you've scripted a conversation, you've just helped to ensure that you'll actually have it. Many couples don't. 1. You realized your flaw and took action to fix it. 2. If you didn't care, you wouldn't be doing it. 3. Even if you do remember, it's not always the right time. I remember a lot of things when I'm driving, making dinner, showering or going to bed at night. Those aren't the times to write the email or check on whatever it was. A reminder in the phone prompts you at times when these things can be addressed. So while she might not like it, the fact is you are making an effort. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Some people are just bad with dates and events. And it's always recommended that they try to figure out a reminder system. You did just that. You may feel self-centered, but you actually go out of your way to make notes of stuff, so you can bring it up later. You could just ignore it and laugh it off like many do, that it's just how I am type of stuff. Not the asshole. I wish my husband would do this. Nah. I'm just going on a theory here, but you were probably told that you were self-centered when you were a kid, because you couldn't remember things. With your reminder system, it sounds to me like you're neurodivergent and that someone mislabeled you, in your childhood. A self-centered person wouldn't make those reminders. Not the asshole. Taking the effort to add these occasions to your calendar and set reminders is showing genuine consideration. Just because it's different from how she naturally remembers doesn't mean it's any less valuable. Not the asshole. If more people were as self-aware as you are and would put in the thought and effort to overcome problem areas, the world would be a better place. Nah. My husband put reminders in his calendar for things like bioclismic candy hearts because we don't do Valentines, but I love those conversation hearts everyone hates. He gets them for me every year. At some point our stupid iCloud account got intertwined and some reminders now pop up on my phone. I never told him because I think it is really sweet that he cares enough to set the reminder. And I want my gross chalky hearts. Not the asshole. I have ADHD, and I have to set reminders for literally everything. You can't help it if you struggle to remember these details. You found a workaround because you care about your wife and want to remember. I think that's pretty sweet. Not the asshole. I am a mother, I lose track with everything, I have to have reminders and I don't take it as I don't care, it's just I'm forgetful. I think taking the time to do the reminders shows that you care and are attentive. Not the asshole. To me this just shows how much you actually do care. Not the asshole at all, and your wife needs to reevaluate her position. Yes, there are people who are naturally better at keeping track of things, events, but that's just it comes natural to most of them. Most aren't putting in a ton of effort to do it. You, on the other hand, are putting in a lot of effort because it doesn't come naturally to you. That makes you the top echelon of the can't remember shit population. Your wife needs to talk to some people with spouses who can't keep track of anything, don't care, and don't do anything about it. Maybe then she will appreciate your efforts. Not the asshole. You sound like you figured out a flaw, and that sounds harsh, I know. I just couldn't come up with a better word and have taken steps to correct it. If you need a reminder to ask about something, it really isn't that different than someone needing multiple reminders to pick up the dry cleaning or knowing that they need multiple alarms so they're on time. It shows you're trying to overcome some selfishness and be a good partner. While remembering things about your partner is really important, I am going to say not the asshole. You are at least trying to meet her love language and care. As you have always been like this, the fact that you are making the effort, I would think she would appreciate. Nobody else does. Hate to burst her bubble, but lots of neurodiverse people, myself included, have reminders like that. Not saying you're ND, but she needs to understand that not everyone's brain works the same as hers, and if you care enough to find an accommodation workaround that works, she needs to stop with the judgment. It's not a moral failing, she's not a better person than you, BCS, she naturally remembers these things, she doesn't care more, your brains are literally just wired differently. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. It's like on a math test. You got the correct answer a different way than the teacher wanted, so it's wrong or half credit. It's so dumb. When she doesn't and nobody else does. Nobody else does? How does she know that? She knows everyone on Earth? Even the people she does know, she wouldn't have any idea if they have some kind of similar system to help them with any aspect of their life. You took the care and effort to make a system that works for you, ensuring you could be the husband that both of you want you to be. Everyone's memory and brain work differently, and there's no morality or assholery about it. Not the asshole it would be now, but her presumptive dismissiveness about what nobody does or doesn't do rubbed me the wrong way. You'd be the if you didn't recognize your flaws and you didn't do anything about it. You're not alone, I do the same. Not the asshole. I think you are being a caring and thoughtful partner. She may be able to remember everything, lots of people don't or can't, and you are actively trying to show up for her. You are 100 awesome. Not the asshole. You recognized an area where you lacked, and took steps to compensate for said lack. The fact that you take extra time to set up the reminders is proof of how much you love and care for your wife. Not the asshole. You have trouble remembering things, so you have a system in place to make sure you do. That is a good thing. Everybody is different. Some are better at remembering things, some worse. But if she thinks you taking steps to remember stuff for her sake is weird and off-putting, then fuck her. I would be excited as my husband just forgets. Not the asshole. As someone with undiagnosed memory issues, I forget about a lot of really important things. You acknowledge your problem, and are working to be better. I think it's super sweet that you even care enough to set reminders to check in on her and her important affairs, not the cheating kind. That she thinks it's weird and no one else does is sad to say the least, and I'm sorry she feels that way about an active attempt to maintain communication in the relationship. Hopefully this will blow over and she will see it for the sweetness it is. Am I the asshole? For not accepting student work which is improperly submitted? I am doing a favor for a friend and filling in as a computer science teacher when he's on extended leave. His syllabus states that online homework assignments must be submitted with the proper file name format. It's quite simple: the name of the assignment, plus the last 4 digits of their student ID number. The name that they are supposed to use is given in the instructions. So, for an assignment where they had to write a simple program to add 2 numbers, it might be something like ... If something isn't submitted with the right file name format, then it technically doesn't count until it's resubmitted properly. I didn't create this policy. My buddy did, and the principal of the school approved the syllabus. Problem is that they can't follow these simple instructions. Half the time they don't know how to upload a file, or they forgot their student ID number despite carrying an ID with them. Often they take screenshots of code, take pics of their screen, submit code in Word documents, and so on. All of this despite being shown nearly every class how to do it. Later the bride and this friend got in touch and expressed how disappointed they were that I didn't take part in this tradition for Amy's sake. Every other unmarried woman took part, and they said that making a clear political statement at Amy's wedding was cruel, as they know about my thoughts around all of it. Amy said her bouquet toss memories are now tarnished knowing how much I'm judging it from a feminist perspective. They said I can decide to not do things at my own weddings, but it's only polite to take part in the activities at other people's. I want to make it clear I barely talk about my opinions on this stuff, only when asked, and with so many disclaimers that I do not judge people for doing any of it. I am not that person. Am I the asshole for not taking part? Not the asshole. Good grief. If that's the worst thing that happened at Amy's wedding, she had a really good wedding. Not the asshole. This is ridiculous. Amy said her bouquet toss memories are now tarnished knowing how much I'm judging it from a feminist perspective. Bouquet toss memories? I didn't do a bouquet toss at my own wedding, so maybe I am not understanding the significance, but this is laughably dramatic for something that takes like 1 minute of wedding reception time. Not the asshole. Your Amy friend and Mo need to evolve into this century. Also, who takes attendance at a bouquet toss? Not the asshole. They are being ridiculous. You didn't tarnish a thing, she is just being dramatic. You shouldn't be forced to do anything that makes you uncomfortable or goes against your beliefs for the sake of someone else's moment. Not the asshole. I skipped my sister's bouquet toss because I was in a bad relationship and felt uncomfortable participating. Did she throw a fit about me, her only sister, not participating? No, because you aren't and should not be required to participate. Let the people who want it fight over the flowers, it only makes sense. Not the asshole. Tell your friends to get over themselves. What a freaking stupid reason to get upset. Not the asshole. Good God, do people not have anything better to do with their fucking time other than worry about the dumbest shit? Why this bothers her is beyond me. Your not the asshole friends should have respected your choice, knowing your feelings about wedding traditions. Not the asshole. You weren't making a political statement or any other kind of statement by not participating in the bouquet toss. You were simply declining to participate and were being respectful about it by not sitting there drawing attention to yourself but instead going to the ladies' room. They are grossly overreacting. Not the asshole. You'd be a jerk if you had long-winded conversations about how stupid the tradition is at her wedding, but it sounds like you tried to discreetly opt out. Why do they want to force you to do something? I have never participated in a bouquet toss and have heard zero feedback about that. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. That is so dumb. Not the asshole. If that's all it takes to tarnish her memories, then why did she invite anyone? People aren't your puppets to play your games. They're allowed to choose what they do. Not the asshole. While I don't see throwing the bouquet as an anti-woman statement, no one should be required to participate. You tried to get away without making a scene, but the Mo wouldn't let it go. She obviously guessed why you didn't take part. I don't understand why Amy is offended or even cares. Not the asshole. You there, property, get over here. Not the asshole H. If they know you are not going to get married, and you did actually take part and caught the bouquet, wouldn't they be even more upset? Not only did you take part in a tradition you don't care about or support, but everyone who knows you knows that what it's symbolic of is meaningless because you're simply not going to be married. Like someone else said, this is such a non-issue that it sounds like the wedding went great and they don't have anything to actually complain about. Absolutely not the asshole. Why do so many people think because it's their wedding they get to have a say in what people do, say, wear, act, look at their wedding? You weren't rude. You didn't get on your soapbox regarding all the outdated traditions from when women were basically a commodity. If you're going to pee while the bride threw flowers at her friends was the worst thing that happened at her wedding, she should count her lucky stars. Not the asshole. If you don't want to take part, don't. I'd rather only half the women took part, but they really wanted to do it, than all the women were there grudgingly. So I think Amy's opinion is rather silly. Not the asshole. If you're not getting married, why would you want to catch the bouquet for who will get married next? Not the asshole. Political statement. She's being so dramatic. What did she expect you to do? Stand there in the middle of the other unmarried women and just not try at all? I feel like that is a bigger statement than just excusing yourself to the restroom. It's not you took a knee at a 9/11 memorial or something. Which would still be your right, BTW. Not the asshole. The few weddings I've been to that had this. I've always found this to be a bit cringe. Not the asshole. You expressed your opinion. To guilt you into participating makes them the A, not you. Not the asshole. Sometimes foolish people view conflicting opinions as attacks on their personal choices. This has never been the case. Not the asshole. Now it's mandatory? Because it's not. It's like eating the cake is it isn't. Not the asshole. At my wedding the bouquet bounced 3 times. The woman who caught it didn't want it, threw it back up in the air, and neither did the next woman who caught it. It eventually stayed with my husband's 13-year-old sister, who was thrilled. I still consider that hilarious. I'm 77 and always thought the garter thing was cringy as fuck. I thought bridezillas stopped being bridezillas after the wedding. It appears not. I hope your friend never has a real problem, she will implode. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Also, what is that BS about feminist perspective? If you don't enjoy the tradition, you do not have to take part in it. There is nothing feminist about that. People who bring politics into any and every topic are walking red flags for me. Not the asshole. I want to get married, and I don't participate in these things either. It's treating women like cattle, in my opinion. Like getting married is the only and ultimate goal. And there's no equivalent on the men's side, and they even groan or run from the room when it's happening. It's gross and sexist. Stand your ground. Ye gods and little fishes. What century are we living in? Of course you are not the asshole. I can't believe that people stress over these unimportant details so much. I'm referring to the bride, BTW. I must say that I find these wedding stories fascinating and mostly appalling. I'm sure there must be some good ones, but I am beginning to wonder. Glad I never bothered. Also saves on costs of divorce, although there will still be arguments over the books and the albums no matter what. Poor Amy is in for a rough go if this rocks her world. I'm probably be in the minority, but ESH. It's ridiculous that you not participating apparently tarnished it for her, but not participating because you're against marriage sounds silly as well. They're right to think you're judging it, because you are. It's a low-stakes wedding game that doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things, and surely you could have entertained the bride by participating, i.e. pretending to go for the bouquet. It sounds like you both put too much stock into what's supposed to be something fun and goofy. You're both blowing it way out of proportion.
Am I the asshole? For not telling my mom I was writing a book until right before I was ready to publish? This is my first time posting, so please be gentle. My mother and I have an okay relationship. It's been getting better since I have been grown, had children and done some healing from my childhood and early adulthood. I wrote a book, under a pen name, that details some of my experiences and how I overcame the trauma of those events. Some of these events are about my mom and some are about healing from other things in life, like abuse, cancer, etc. I don't paint my mother in a horrible light, but I tell my story from my truth when it pertains to her. When I get to the healing part of the journey, I even express empathy and understanding as to why my mom did some of the things she did. My mom has a habit of making everything about her. It is tiring, and I am experienced enough with her at this point to navigate in such a way that allows her to be herself. She hasn't done much healing of her own and remain a part of my life. I have 2 children that she adores and I don't want to cut them off from their only grandmother. So, once I was ready for publication, I told my mom, because I am not heartless and didn't want to blindside her. I sent her a proof to read, even though I don't use anyone's real names. She is pissed. She said I make her look like a monster. She literally was one of the monsters in my story for a long time, and if I publish this book she will never speak to me and write me out of her will. I am her only living child. I don't care about the will, but she is threatening to not talk to me. My siblings passed away and it's just me and her left. Now I am wondering if I should not publish. I didn't write the book to paint her in a bad light. She isn't even the main trauma. I wrote the book because people that know me would always say, "You should write a book. It could really help others." So one day, I did just that. Am I the asshole? Or is my mom making herself the center again and manipulating me out of publishing my hard work? Info: why would you write under a pen name and then share it with her? You could have published it and she would never be the wiser. Not the asshole. Just foolish. You should probably just have never told her. So many books get published. She would never know. That was a silly thing to do. Way you do depends on how important your relationship with your mom is to your kids and you. If you do it, it's a coin toss whether she actually goes through with it. So be prepared if you do it. I'm not sure why you told her about this. Don't feel bad about expressing things from your past if she didn't want to look like a monster. She shouldn't have been the monster. Change your pen name and title. And publish it. Without telling her. Not the asshole for your book. You're the asshole for telling your mom at all. You're the asshole because I think deep down, your mother was your targeted audience. You used a pen name and changed other names to not be recognized. Your mother was unlikely to ever come across the book. Yet you voluntarily chose to give it to her. If this was part of your healing, then at least be honest with yourself and don't act like you were just doing your mother a favor. The book was under a pen name and names were changed. I think you should bring this up with a therapist. Sounds like you wanted your mother to read about your experience with her from your POV. And that you made her your audience. Now you're using her reaction to validate her character and asking us to do the same in order to prop yourself up. No thank you. Getting major self-publishing vibes about the book. Not the asshole. I wrote a short story on my mom once and she found it. Changed names and everything. When she found it, she showed it to me asking if I had wrote it. I was very nervous cause it was actually a really mean story. But she just sat back and was like, "Man, that mom you wrote is a nightmare. I could never treat my babies that way." I just chuckled and took it from her and told her I was gonna put it away. As I went to put it away, I couldn't help but sob uncontrollably afterwards. Because she was a nightmare. You were hoping that by reading this your mom would have her come to Jesus moment and you'd have the movie moment where old wounds are healed and you can move forward. But life isn't like that. You know she will never acknowledge what she did to you, how she impacted your life and the trauma she inflicted. Maybe see this book as a cathartic release. But your mom is manipulating you by trying to control you through money. What kind of relationship do you want with your mom? What is the outcome you're looking for that is achievable? So you went through all that work of overcoming your trauma and abuse just to cave again? You're the asshole. It was unlikely she would have stumbled across your book. It's clear you deliberately told her to gauge her reaction and see if she had had any personal growth. Maybe even own up to some of her actions. I get it. My mom is exactly like her. But let's not mislead yourself or this community with a calculated decision. You're the asshole. You did this to yourself. Transparent and plain to see. Yeah, your mom fucked you over, but therapy is supposed to help you grow to take responsibility for your life moving forward. Nothing you wrote here shows that level of personal growth. You didn't even take responsibility for your own book. People who know me, okay, Pally AITA, sorry. People that know me. Not the asshole. Anne Lamott once wrote, you own everything that happened to you. Tell your stories. If people wanted you to write warmly about them, they should have behaved better. I think it's possible you subconsciously wanted your mother to acknowledge the harm she did you. That's normal and unfortunately rarely a thing that we get in our lives. But your mother's actions in your past, no matter their motivation, don't entitle her to be completely sheltered from anyone else finding out about them. You own your stories. Why did you send it to your mother if it was under a pen name and the names were changed? It would not have blindsided her at all unless you are expecting her to happen upon your book and read it and then recognize herself. I suspect your motives here, to be honest, but there is not enough information to make a judgment. Not the asshole. Your mistake was telling her at all. Am I the asshole? Or is my mom making herself the center again and manipulating me out of publishing my hard work? What the hell did you expect? What did you hope to get from doing this if you don't plan on cutting contact? A pat on the back and an apology? Validation of your upbringing? You said she would probably do that and she did it? Not the asshole. However, your relationship with your mom will probably never recover. I don't know what the point of publishing under a pen name was if you were going to show it to her. Anyway. Not the asshole because you're not obligated to tell anyone anything. But why on earth did you tell her at all? You've made a rod for your own back now. I wrote a book about my childhood sexual abuse under a pen name. I didn't tell my family as it was my brother who abused me and most don't know. You already let the cat out of the bag. Publish it and come what may. You're the asshole for giving her the book at all, and you would be an even bigger if you didn't publish it. Not the asshole, but I think that what OP really wanted was for her mom to accept responsibility. And maybe even apologize for the stuff she did during OP's childhood. That isn't going to happen. But I bet it was cathartic to write this stuff down. I'd wait on publishing the book. Maybe 5 or 10 years. By then, the kids will have realized what a jerk your mom is. And want to avoid her. Do you have an agent? I don't want to be critical. But you don't simply decide to publish. It takes at the very least a few months for an agent to send to editors. Have an auction. Go through editorial and copy editing. Cover art. Marketing. And printing. It might be that you're self-publishing. And that's fine. But it's not going to sell unless you are an extraordinary promoter. Not the asshole. Move forward. I don't think you should have told her just yet.